All 22 drivers on the grid here at Suzuka. It's a jumbled up qualifying order because of the rain in qualifying. I'll talk about it later. We got 5 red lights and it's green light go towards turn 1. Lando Norris has a great start. Even looks like George Russell in the left lane. Your right has a better start than Max Verstappen. He does. Verstappen under attack from Hamilton behind as Hamilton's teammate goes side by side with Sainz through turn 2. Now under attack from the other Williams of Albon. Side by side up the hill. Verstappen and Hamilton leading the train. Sainz has no dancing partner, and then it's 2 by 2, 2 more rows back. Verstappen coming up the hill, looks like he's going to clear Hamilton. He does, as they head towards the set of Degners. Everybody looks like they're going to file in line. Hadjar is still side by side with, I believe that was Kimi Antonelli. Yes, it is. The young Red Bull driver, the young Mercedes driver. Now all of them in line. Everybody looks like they're going to take a deep breath. The first sector of the race is through. Let's just get to the next. And there's a big dive from Ayrton Forsythe. Touches the grass. And that looks like 2 moves done. That's weird to talk about myself in third person. The young Cadillac driver making some gains. On board with Arvid Lindblad. There goes Forsythe on his left into the Spoon corner. And Forsythe started this race 17th. He's up to 11th. They run 4th and 5th. Hamilton, the lead Ferrari. Then the 2 Williams, who both have had a good start to the season, run 6th and 7th. Ha ha ha. Isaac Hadjar runs 8th and Kimi Antonelli 9th. And it's a bit of a gap back to Gabriel Bortoleto, who's got a train behind him with a very excited looking Ayrton Forsythe. I'm not going to get used to talking about myself in third person. And he's going to have a look to the inside of the Spoon corner here on lap 2. The Cadillac driver to the inside of the Audi driver. And he's got the job done. Very big train behind Valtteri, and in fact, that's going to help his teammates' case of holding on to the points instead of having everybody behind him. Now, Ayrton's only going to have to worry about that train that's behind him as Valtteri holds up everybody 15th on back. To give a pit stop window, perhaps. I don't know if Valtteri means to be doing this, but it certainly isn't hurting. Out of the Spoon corner, here comes George Russell. He is closing on Lando Norris in a 130R. He's going to take a peek to the inside. The camera shot's terrible, and George Russell hits the curb, takes the lead. Does Lando have a look back into the chicane? No, he does not. Albon, 3 seconds further back, has Antonelli, who's slicing his way through this train. He's going to have a look here on Alex Albon. Kimi Antonelli. Oh, there might have been a bit of contact, but they keep it straight. And look at the double move. Forsythe is going to the inside as Antonelli tries the outside. Antonelli's move doesn't work. Forsythe makes the move work around Hadjar. And the Cadillac driver up to 9th around the Red Bull. A storming charge at the start of this Grand Prix from Ayrton Forsythe. Here comes Kimi Antonelli into turn 1. He's not going to have the move on Alex Albon. Wow. Up ahead, Lando all over George's gearbox still. Could he be playing the waiting game, the patient game? I'll follow you. You show me the pace, and I'll just tuck in behind you and follow your lead. Maybe undercut. McLaren looking for the undercut. We believe a 2-stop strategy could be at play here in Suzuka. It's not a super tire-friendly track with all the elevation changes and the high-speed corners. Here comes Lando Norris taking a look to the inside of 130R. Anything you can do, I can do better, says Lando to George. Into the chicane. It's going to be the outside into the braking zone. George Russell has the line advantage. They nearly touch, but they keep it clean. Out of the final corner, Lando Norris only takes 2 laps to get the job done and take the lead back. Well, everything I said about him being patient, well, that was just pointless. And I should never open my mouth again, but here comes George Russell back to the inside. Lando fights him off, goes wide. George Russell to the lead. What a battle from the 2 British leaders. The reigning world champion, the man who thinks this year is his year. And wow, get the popcorn ready. George Russell leading Lando Norris towards 130R. It's the biggest lead I've seen either of them have in several laps. And now Lando maybe just playing it patient to keep things nice and tidy. And George has just looped it into the chicane. Lando Norris is going to go through. George backs up to get out of everybody's way onto the escape road. And now he's stopped. Does George Russell have a problem? Is George Russell out of the Japanese Grand Prix? He's got him moving again. Coming back onto the racing surface, it looks like he's got it going. He's not going to come into the pits, but the championship leader, the race leader, going around, looked like he locked the rear under braking and then came to another halt. Not sure what that was about, but George Russell effectively, without a miracle, is out of this race, which means we are going to avert our attention to the lone leader now, Lando Norris, who's 1.3 clear of Verstappen, who's 1.3 clear of Leclerc. He's got Sainz and Hamilton within a second of him. Albon 3.5 back is trying to hold off Ayrton Forsyth in the charging Cadillac. A sentence I never thought I'd say, but look at him come through the Degners. It's down to 4/10 up the hill towards the hairpin. He might have a go into Spoon here with the good enough exit. Eats up a lot of curb on the exit. Big slide. He's getting really excited on that throttle. He's going to lose a couple tenths because of it. Down the hill he comes, but I think he's got the battery power towards Spoon. Forsyth on Albon. No move. I got hyped for what? But does he back it down for the run towards 130R? Why did I call it that? It's just 130R. Oh, here's a move from Ajar and Antonelli. These two have been scrapping all day, and look who's in the top 10. It's Oscar Piastri. Ajar gets clear of Antonelli as they head into the chicane. We got a lockup up ahead. I'll assume that was Forsyth getting eager on Albon's gearbox. But everybody just swapping position all the time, always. By the way, Lance Stroll is out of the Grand Prix anyway. Lewis Hamilton's still up there in 5th, holding on to Sainz, who has really followed Leclerc, who, by the way, is a second behind Verstappen, who's within a second of Lando Norris. Nobody can break free in the lead. Lando Norris thought it was handed to him on a silver platter with George Russell's spin. But here comes Max Verstappen, and in his wake, essentially, is another 3. This could become a 5-car race for the lead within another lap or 2 at this pace. Norris, I don't know if he's used up all of his battery in the battle with George or what. Can I learn anything in onboard camera? Maybe if I paid enough attention, but I can't be bothered to. Lando Norris leading the way through Spoon, but he's got a hungry Dutchman behind him. We've lost Isaac Ajar. Could that perhaps be to a pit stop? Let's go have a look at him. I believe it's to a pit stop. Isaac Ajar, the first of the lead drivers. Here comes Lewis Hamilton as well as somebody was ahead of him. Verstappen's in as well. Verstappen and Hamilton. Verstappen going for the undercut to take the race lead. I'm surprised they pit Hamilton instead of Charles Leclerc. Leclerc, the lead Ferrari. Ferrari strategy stays true even in the games and effectively give him an overcut. I don't know. Look at the slide from the smooth operator in the background. Wow. And here's Forsyth grinding on the curves. Antonelli waiting in the wings, but here comes Forsyth to the inside of the hairpin. Gets on by Alex Albon. And net position, I'm going to say, is 6th off the top of my head. I wish I had people working for me to check my maths. Let's have a look at our leader. Lando Norris is coming into the pits, followed by Charles Leclerc, who's within a second. That is huge. It was not within a second between those two before. Carlos Sainz stays on the track. McLaren versus Ferrari. Forsyth stays on track. He's going to take P2. Albon's in. Antonelli's in behind as well. Lando Norris for McLaren. It's a good-looking stop, I guess. Didn't look that fast, to be honest. He's going to come out ahead of Leclerc. There goes Ocon. Here comes Verstappen, who's going to clear Leclerc around the outside of Lando Norris. Max Verstappen to the race lead, but he runs wide. He runs wide, and are they going to tell him to give the position back for taking an advantage? Possibly. I don't know. He was well clear of Norris into the corner, and he just overdrove it. Very uncharacteristic mistake from the Dutchman. Carlos Sainz, your race leader for Williams, and I tell you, it's beautiful to see that Williams team running well. Of course, he's only leading because of the pit cycle. In fact, here he comes for his pit stop. But they've been competitive. 5th and 6th sort of all day for Sainz and Alex Albon. That is great to see. But this means that rookie driver, Ayrton Forsyth, for the rookie team, Cadillac, is going to lead. And regardless of when he stops, he should end up leading a lap. So that's a massive, massive landmark in a team's history and a driver's career. And here comes your race leader, Ayrton Forsythe. He should make it to the flag and lead a lap. Big pump going in the pit box. And that is a first career-led lap for Ayrton Forsythe officially, and a first lap led for Team Cadillac. But here come the top three leaders. They are going to break away. Forsythe in the background. Here's Lando Norris to the inside of Max Verstappen. Max runs wide again, and Charles Leclerc is going to clear him. The Monegasque driver taking advantage of Max's second adventure into the runoff in turn one. And Lando Norris back to the race lead. Max in his head or something. This is not what we see from him anymore. And Charles Leclerc now in the pouncing position on Lando Norris to take the lead. We've seen nobody can maintain the lead here. This has been a very rubber bandy, if you will, Grand Prix between George and Lando. Nobody could hold the lead. And then Lando got the lead and Max and the field started closing. And then Max had the lead and Lando closed back up. Is it Charles' turn to take the P1 spot in the order? And here is Charles Leclerc out of the final corner. He's going to have boost mode. He's going to have straight mode on. He's going to look to the outside of Lando Norris. It didn't work for Max, and it's not going to work for Charles. He runs wide into the dust. And speaking of Max, look at the gap that Max has lost to the top two. Leclerc is going to have to clean off those tires and have another go. A lot of racing left. Keep it clean. Stay within distance. There's a long way to go. Anybody could still win this Grand Prix, certainly out of this top three from what I've seen. 1.2 seconds, now down to 1.1. This Cadillac of Ayrton Forsythe is closing on seven-time champion in the Ferrari, Lewis Hamilton. Yes, down within a second, 8/10 even. He must have been ripping it through the Degners. Loses a bit of time at the hairpin. We've seen that Cadillac slow in the traction zones out of slow corners, but look at him close. He's really using the battery down the hill towards Spoon. It's nearly half a second. It's under half a second as he exits Spoon. Could he close and have a shot into the chicane? This seven-time world champion against the rookie, the most historic team against the newest team, and we've got a battle for P5 on our hands. 2/10 as they hit the chicane. Charles Leclerc down the main straight again. Looked like he was on straight mode quicker than Lando Norris. Maybe that was my mind playing tricks on me, but he's going to try the inside this time in the pit lane exit into the braking zone, keeps it on the surface, and Charles Leclerc to the race lead officially. Can he get back around and lead a lap? Probably, and that'll make it 4 leaders this Grand Prix. 5. If we're talking officially leading a lap being the determination on leading a Grand Prix, it would be 5. You got to include Ayrton Forsythe on that list. And that is 5, of course, if Charles Leclerc leads a lap. Back down the order now. Here's Hamilton through the Degners leading Forsythe. We were talking about the battle heating up, and look at the slide from the champion out of Degner 2. Forsythe into the inside for the kink, the outside for the hairpin, but he's clear of Lewis before the hairpin. He's gone deep though. Lewis back around the inside. He can't get clear. The tires are aligned as they head down the hill. Who's going to come out in front? It's Ayrton Forsythe up to P5 for Cadillac, clearing 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton. What a moment for him. Back down the main straight. Lewis Hamilton to the inside of Ayrton Forsythe. What does Forsythe have? It's going to be battery versus battery here on the main straight. Forsythe looks like maybe he even just lets Lewis through into turn 1. And Lewis back up to P5. Forsythe heading into the hairpin all over Hamilton again. He's going to go for the same move he did last time. Maybe touch the grass around the curb. He goes wide again. And Lewis will hold the position. But Forsythe is going to have a lot of speed as they head down the hill. He's probably got the boost on. Down the hill to the inside of Lewis Hamilton. They nearly touch. A swooping move from the young rookie on the wily old Brit veteran. And Forsythe's going to have that move stick. But that's the same move he pulled last lap. Lewis came right back at him. Will we just have a repeat? Lando, I just said, has not been within half a second of Charles Leclerc, is within half a second of Charles Leclerc. And just as I say that, he's now outside half a second of Charles Leclerc. Down the hill, he's within half a second of Charles Leclerc. Does he have a move in a spoon? No, he's way too far back. But with a good enough exit, could maybe have a go. into the chicane. It'll come down to this exit. It'll come down to the boost button, because Formula One is all about how many mushrooms you get in the power-up boxes. 3/10, 2/10 as they hit into 130R. Lando all over the monogasque gearbox. Into the chicane. Does he have a looky-loo? No looky-loo from Lando. Maybe waiting for turn 1 for the move. Out of the chicane. Charles might have had a bit of a better exit. Lando's going to box. Here comes the second round of pit stops. Lando's going to jump first, looking for the undercut on the Ferrari driver. Does anybody else go with him? I don't think so. Nobody out of the lead group, certainly. Sainz still outside of a second behind Verstappen, but Forsyth has closed within a second of Sainz, bringing Hamilton with him. And at this point, I think Forsyth's line is just going wide in the hairpin and cutting it back down, because I don't know the last time I saw him not go wide. Bit unorthodox, but it seems to be working. Look at the momentum he's got towards Spoon. Does he have a look? No, he does not. Up towards 130R, a good enough exit. He could have a move here on the smooth operator in the Williams. 4/10 and closing down to 2/10. He's got the momentum on the Williams. He's gone to the inside of the Williams. I can't see what's happening. Yes, I can. I see a Cadillac up to P3. Who pits this time around? I don't believe Leclerc has. Out of the chicane, doesn't look like anybody of the top 4. No, Verstappen has. Verstappen from P2 has boxed for his second and final stop of the day. Leclerc has boxed. I apologize. I don't know anything. So the top 2 pit, which rescinds the lead back to Forsyth. What has happened here? This is Gabriel Bortoleto out of the second Degner, going very slowly, comes across Alonso, takes out Alonso's right front. Bortoleto is blowing up. So 2 DNFs, the Audi of Gabriel Bortoleto, the Aston Martin of Fernando Alonso. That's gut-wrenching. And this is certainly going to be a virtual safety car. And look at the leaders pounce. Into the pits comes the Cadillac of Ayrton Forsyth, the Williams of Carlos Sainz, and of course the Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton. These drivers were not on the podium, but from the lead with the virtual safety car, they will box. As here come the net leaders, Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris, having to hold their speed, much slower than racing speed. Down the main straight. If I go into first person, you can see the yellow lights. There's the people who box coming out of the pits. Forsyth is going to be third on track in front of Sainz and Hamilton. Still going slowly through the S's up the hill. I sure wish there was some kind of race control in a replay. Still looks quite slow. They have the lights on the mirrors. I need a different camera angle. I don't see the lights anymore. I think they're going for it. Lando Norris, yes, look at the speed now as they come around the top of the hill towards the Degners. Lando Norris all over Charles Leclerc. How about Ayrton Forsyth in the Cadillac on the podium as we speak, from 17th on the grid? The virtual safety car, you can say, absolutely lucked out with it. But are you kidding me? That is insane. But he's got a hungry pack of hippos behind him. He's got Carlos Sainz, Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen to hold off. If Lando gets around here in the chicane, then Charles just has another straight right after to have another go. So Lando no look into the chicane, but he's all over the monogasque gearbox. Does he have a look into turn 1? He's certainly close enough. Charles might have had a better exit, though. Down the main straight, your 2 leaders. 7 laps to go here at Suzuka. Lando's closing. He looks to the outside. Charles must have had a lot of battery in reserve, because I really expected to move there in turn 1. But instead, it stays at 2/10. Charles playing very stout defense here on the reigning world champion. Looking for Ferrari's first win, of course, since some Grand Prix in 24. I don't know. I'm going to be honest, I forget. I've just had the history folks here at Air Force Broadcasting let me know. This would be Ferrari's first Grand Prix victory since USA 2024, Circuit of the Americas. Charles Leclerc won that Grand Prix, of course. Maybe Lando is genuinely just playing the waiting game. Maybe he wants to pounce on the last lap or 2 laps to go, a la Kimi Räikkönen back in '06. Sorry, '05. That one I knew off the top of my head. No move into turn 1. He certainly looks... I've seen drivers make moves from further back than Lando is. Lando could just be patient. By the way, Hamilton has gotten around Sainz. He's 2.7 back on Forsyth, who hasn't been closing on the top 2, but still, if Forsyth can hold on, which with his given pace, he should hold on to that P3, that would be simply sensational. It could also be Lando's mindset here. Don't go for a big move and take myself out of the championship chances. Looking at everybody's pace, everybody really thought, look at the slide from Charles Leclerc out of Degner 2. Does that hold up Lando? Is that a sign to Lando of, okay, he's holding me up? Because, by the way, Forsyth has closed half a second since we last checked, and counting. As I was saying, Lando Norris maybe just taking care of his stuff. Maybe he just wants to have one good go at it, and that's it, and he's saving that for the end. He doesn't want to take himself and Charles out. Lando is in a championship battle with the Mercedes that, pace-wise, everybody thought was gone. But as it's proven to be in the Grand Prix itself, the Mercedes is just lackluster. It certainly, at best, is on par with the McLaren and maybe the Ferrari. Through all the nonsense, through all the chaos, we come to 4 laps to go here at Suzuka, and look at the top 3 separated by 1.8 seconds. Charles Leclerc still leads the 2025 world champion for McLaren, Lando Norris. And Forsyth, just as I said it, has fallen outside of 2 seconds. He may have cooked his tires. But 2.7 back still to Hamilton, who's still trying to hold off a train. I really think a podium. I really think a podium is on the cards here for Cadillac in just their 3rd ever Grand Prix. For Ayrton Forsyth in just his 3rd ever Grand Prix, that will be an incredible feat. However, these two, you never know what could happen between these two. Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc. Both of them very smart, very capable drivers. But if they push each other too hard, who knows what that black and white Cadillac can do. And just as I say that, Forsyth has closed monumentally through the 2nd sector. 0.8 is Leclerc holding up Norris. Have they both just killed the tires? Remember, both their tires are older than Forsyth's. Out of turn 2, Forsyth was 2 seconds back off Norris. He's now just 1.2. Does Lando take that as a sign to go? He looks to the inside into 130R. Does he cut back into the inside of the chicane? No, still very patient from Lando. Again, I think the move is into turn 1, and I think he knows that. But Forsyth now within a second is going to have boost mode enabled, whatever that means. I still don't know. But we got 3 laps to go at Suzuka. We got 3 cars within a shot to win the race. Into turn 1, still no move from Lando. And a big slide out of turn 2 from the world champion. That's going to cost him a couple tenths. That's going to cost him a lot of tire temperature. And that's going to cost him the gap back to the Cadillac behind. 2.5 laps to go here at Suzuka. I could not place a bet. I could not place a bet, you know. Leclerc still leads. Lando's not going to wait forever, but if he's going to kill his tires, he might just have to. What is Forsyth's situation? He has been insanely quicker these last 2-3 laps. He actually hugged the curb in the hairpin. Remember earlier, I said that he runs wide in the hairpin. And down into Spoon, down the hill, Forsyth, we saw him put that move on Hamilton earlier. He puts it on this British world champion for McLaren, and he's got P2 into Spoon. Ayrton Forsyth in the Cadillac from 17th on the grid is mounting a charge for the win at Suzuka. He's got to hold off Lando. Lando is not going to go off into that good night. But he's got a big run on Charles Leclerc into the chicane. He's not going to take it, thinks better of it. It would have been bold. It would have been brash. He's going to back it down for a good exit down the main straight. 2 laps to go. Can Charles break away? Lando's going to have an attack on Ayrton down the main straight. Forsythe's going to have a lot of boost to defend, but Lando is going to get clear before turn 1. And Lando runs wide. He ran wide, did the Papaya McLaren, and they're going to be side by side up the hill. This is all Charles Leclerc needs to see, but Forsythe gets around Norris like that around the outside into turn 3, and he's back up to second, clear of the McLaren, and he can try one more time, I think. He's got a lap and a half to do it. He's within a second. He's got boost mode. Can Forsythe pull off the most improbable upset Formula One will maybe ever see, aside from Braun in 2009, the last team who won in their first ever season? This would be insane to see. And look at him close as they head up the hill. The 24-year-old rookie against the 28-year-old Ferrari Monegasque race winner. Down into Spoon. Forsythe has a look. It's not going to be there. He's going to think better of it. Up towards 130R for the penultimate time. Lando looks too far back unless Forsythe is out of boost, but I'm sure he's been saving it all for this moment. Through 130R for the second to final time. He is closed on the Ferrari to the inside into the chicane. Ayrton Forsythe looking for the lead, and he comes out ahead of the Ferrari. This is insane as they come to the line for the final lap at Suzuka. Of all the winners you could have put in a hat and pick from, it would have never been this young man. He has driven from 17th on the grid, had an explorative first lap, never extended though, but certainly put the car in the grass a couple times, found his way to 11th by the end of the first lap, drove through a couple choo-choo trains, on pace was 6th or 5th, lucked out with the virtual safety car, which put him just on the heels of Leclerc and Norris, who just did nothing for 10 laps, and he's closed in. He has taken advantage of the conservative top 2, driven it hard, driven on through, and the little American team that could, with the rookie American driver, he will become the first American to stand on the podium since Michael Andretti in '93. The first American to stand on the top step since Mario Andretti in '79. The first American team to be on the podium, maybe ever, I don't know. I need people looking into that. Into the chicane for the final time. Nobody is going to have a close enough look. Norris isn't even going to pass Leclerc. How boring can it be behind him, but how exciting can it be for Cadillac in their first season taking a win, for Forsythe in his rookie year taking a win. It's America's greatest day in Japan since '45. I cannot believe it. What a moment for Formula One. What a moment for motorsport. What a moment for that young man and that young team. Simply sensational.